Now, following an outpouring of criticism from bloggers and civil liberty campaigners, a bill intended to regulate online media drafted by Information Minister Walid Daou has been effectively withdrawn. The bill submitted to the cabinet by Daou on March 7th calls for the registration of news websites and the application of existing media laws to those who work for them. The backlash against the bill online was overwhelming, prompting Prime Minister Najib Mikati to use Twitter to say on March 12th that he was calling for a review of the law. It raised concerns with bloggers and civil rights activists in particular for its vagueness over definitions of what kinds of websites would be covered and its stipulation that further changes to the law could be made by decree, meaning amendments would bypass the parliamentary review system. And joining us now to discuss the importance of social media in the Arab world is prominent Lebanese blogger Gino Raidy. Welcome, Gino.
Thanks for having me, Youmna.
So, although Lebanon is often celebrated as the country for freedom of expression, this particular law kind of showed that on the contrary, there are a lot more things to be worked upon in Lebanon.
Exactly. When we first heard of the law, it was déjà vu from Syrian regimes, Arab regimes which had already fallen. So controlling the internet was certainly not a Lebanese feature.
But as a blogger, how did this affect you personally?
We were very worried. The government said that this law is to protect us, but of course we were skeptical.
Why skeptical?
Because you shouldn't have to give up some of your freedoms to be able to have security and protect your intellectual property.
Which is what they said they were doing.
Which is exactly what the government said, what the minister said. He said that this is optional, but if we didn't register, our intellectual property and our security would not be guaranteed.
As a person who constantly blogs and who's constantly on Twitter, do you feel that the Lebanese government is trying to control and regulate this kind of information for a specific reason?
We never had that problem. It's recently happening, and it's a bit worrying. But the laws are a bit absurd. Then they're laws which were meant for radio and TV, and which were drafted over 50 years ago. So we're not really worried because we'll always find loopholes. But if the law does pass and it stands, myself and many people like me will probably end up in jail for having more than one website, or a Twitter account and a Facebook page.
But there's more than, half of Lebanon has a Twitter account, a Facebook account, and different several accounts. So this would only limit every Lebanese to having just one account, one kind of...
According to the wording of the law, yes, it could be interpreted in that way.
Do you think they're doing it because a lot of people say mean things and offensive things when it comes to leaders and governments, and they're trying to control and regulate that?
That's frowned upon in Lebanon usually, and traditional media never name people or say offensive terms, but some bloggers do, and that's their choice in the end. But stopping that you lose what's nice about blogging, what's nice about the internet. You can say whatever you want without being prosecuted. So it's sort of like a Hyde Park for us when it comes to political issues, social issues, activism.
How did the blogging community react in this backlash?
At first, we were apprehensive. We wanted to see what the law was exactly and
but it's
what
still,
it would
but
be
as
like.
They said, it's pretty vague in terms of.
It's very vague.
Right.
So when it's vague, we're worried. So thanks to a lot of pressure on Twitter and other channels, the Prime Minister did respond, and as you said, the law is now being reviewed. It's been withdrawn from the table, so we're glad.
We were talking a little bit about this before the bulletin, and you said that there was an option to either register your accounts or not.
Exactly.
So can you elaborate a little bit about that?
The Minister said that each person had the choice, or each company, or if it's a news website, had the choice to register with the government or not. When you do register, they guarantee you stuff like intellectual property and security in
so
case
I don't see
was
where
wrong.
the problem is, because you could just simply choose not to register.
Exactly. That was one. But then again, I don't want what I write to be taken by someone else and marketed as theirs, and they make money off it, for example. So I want the government to safeguard that for me. I want to be able to protect what I create online. So
however, you don't want it to be protected so much that it ends up
I'd give
being
up some
limited.
of my freedom of what I can say online.
You attended the ArabNet Digital Summit last week.
Yes,
and I believe there was a panel on the future of news.
Exactly.
And where we're headed in terms of the future of news. And there's been a lot of talk about print media disappearing.
Exactly.
Things becoming different, especially with this new wave of the digital revolution. So what did they say that stuck out for you?
The ongoing debate has been ever since, especially the Arab Spring, is that will citizen journalism replace traditional media such as print or TV? Or my opinion and the general consensus reached on that panel was that traditional media should incorporate this new type of citizen journalism, which is online, tweets, Facebook, YouTube. And that's what many of them are doing, and it's proving very successful. It's proving that it's not either or, it's both of them together. So normal people are part of the news. That's why even in print media, where you can't really integrate social media, they're creating web applications or mobile applications which you can contribute to with photos or images or videos. So it's them merging together that's the future of news. It'll become multi-directional, not just old school reporting.
So and citizen journalism being the prevalent type of journalism?
It'll be a major part of it, but at the end of the day, a normal citizen may not be qualified to do the proper research, so you'll always need journalists.
So technically, I'll still have a job in 5 years?
Yes, you're safe.
I want to also talk about the film that caused worldwide controversy, Invisible Children, Kony 2012, which you spoke about on your blog. Sure. Just to remind people, it went viral as of March 30th, 2012, and I'm reading numbers here. The film had over 86 million views on YouTube alone.
And it's a 30-minute video, which is a feat for any person.
You wrote on your blog, and I quote, "Kony 2012 has changed the world. Whether Kony stays or goes is irrelevant. What matters is that people care again."
Exactly. A lot of people are apathetic today. No one really cares. No one thinks they can change. They just, okay, especially in Lebanon, we just say, okay, this is bad. No one really acts. What Kony did was, regardless whether Joseph Kony, because of the video, there is now a lot of rumors that it's propaganda or it's a marketing ploy. But that's regardless. It got people to care. When I was in the States when it came out, my friends in Lebanon were calling me and sending me texts telling me, please get us a Kony 2012 action kit. So imagine, it engaged people in Lebanon who had never heard of this guy in Uganda to want to act and actually go to the streets when local stuff, which are much worse for us directly, no one really cares, no one goes to the streets. So with Kony 2012, he created what we like to call on the internet a meme, which is a successful idea which can proliferate very fast over the internet and survive even with all the criticism and stabs at its integrity.
But he created it specifically so that the campaign, I believe, ends at the end of this year in 2012, and he wants to make sure that that people care enough and governments care enough so that Kony is eventually arrested and removed from power. He's a fugitive. They don't even know where he is at the moment.
Exactly. No one even knows if he's in Uganda, which is also part of the controversy. But the idea is so simple, making someone famous for being a tyrant, a war criminal who abuses human rights, making him famous so people put pressure on their governments and governments act. Because at the end of the day, an elected official won't act if he doesn't think his voters care about a certain issue. So making the whole world care will hopefully get Kony out, and with this new idea, it's not just Kony, the whole list of...
Right, because are there, like you said, memes. Are there different, what kinds of memes
yes,
are there?
Yes, usually memes have become jokes or funny stuff recently. But what a meme is basically is any successful idea which can transmit itself.
Another example of...
a lot of, for example, political movements are usually memes, especially ones which survive a lot. Some religious faiths are memes too, because they're not only inherited from parent to son or daughter, they also can be proliferated horizontally. You can go preach to other people, convert them. So everything is almost a meme. Every successful idea is a meme. This is just one which was created thanks to YouTube, thanks to the new age, thanks to social media, with people from all around the world who had no idea about Kony, about Joseph Kony, who probably never heard of Uganda.
And there's so many different, but this is what social media is doing, and this is what we've seen it, especially in the last year and a half, bringing it home to the Arab Spring, with different activists and people and protesters using YouTube and Twitter and Facebook in order to show what's happening on the ground. We saw it in Tunisia, we saw it in Egypt, we're seeing it in Syria, and social media is taking over in a way.
It is.
And so that's not a meme. It's a bunch of different things that are taking over on social media.
Which it's a vehicle to transmit those memes, if you like. During the Arab Spring, we never had felt this solidarity with the Arab world. We never thought of people in Libya or people so far away. Now, when we were on Twitter, we were following them, and their struggle was our struggle because of the tweets, because of the YouTube, so it's really brought people together, made people citizens of the world, literally, because the world, social media isn't bound by borders.
So now everybody can be.
Everybody is involved in
everyone's
everyone's
a citizen
business.
of the world.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for
Gino.
having me.